Hi, international superstar Moby Lee. I've been watching you guys from like the very, very beginning. I actually started off like my YouTube stuff doing rap remixes to your Songify stuff. You actually
awesome.
posted one of mine, the Baby remix.
Mommy Daddy song?
Yeah. It's not like, that was one of my worst ones, so I wish a better one would have got posted. But
We must have thought it was pretty good. So we don't annotate to guys that are really phoning it in.
yeah. And I just want to say you guys came a long way from what you're doing with just the floating heads to actually be seen on TV. And just like I was on Netflix watching Cleveland show in a Frap Attack episode when they're doing like, I was like, oh snap, that's the Gregory brothers. And Taj 4.0 when they did the Why Must I Cry. And it's like, it inspires me and it makes me proud to see you guys like on TV doing all this stuff. And my question was, what is, out of all the accomplishments you did on YouTube and TV, what do you think is your greatest one?
Well, thanks, man. That's a really good question.
Thanks so much.
It has been really wonderful, kind of an honor to see that like this kind of weird niche that we carved out for ourselves, creating songs out of non-songs and all that sort of stuff has become a thing in culture that just happens, and people accept that as part of our world now. So when something like that becomes part of the real world, it also becomes part of entertainment that depicts that world, such as TV shows and movies now sometimes show the story of someone who goes viral or something like that. That becomes like a part of the plot of a TV show. So we are fortunate enough to kind of be out there in such a way that sometimes those TV shows and movies come to us and say like, hey, we got a character that goes viral in our TV show. Did you guys make that video? And so sometimes we say yes. And so like the Cleveland show Frap Attack, for example, is like a thing that we did for the Cleveland show in which Cleveland gets hit by a Frappuccino and goes viral. And in the front row, someone just went, what? And that's what we said. I'm going to answer your question more directly, but I also just as a Gregory side note wanted to share that the Cleveland Frap Attack project is responsible for a very bad breakup that Andrew had, in which this was back in the day in which we were working in Andrew and Michael's apartment, and Michael and I were just up to like 2 in the morning, like remixing the Cleveland show. And to give you some idea of what this sounds like when you're remixing something, or just making a song or whatever, you're just replaying tiny little bits over and over to get it right. And so if you can imagine like about 100...
As if that song wasn't anything but Cleveland screaming, Frap Attack!
So all you would hear for about 2 hours while Michael and I worked on this is just, Frap Attack, Frap Attack, Frap Attack, Frap Attack. In the meantime, on the other side of a very thin door, Andrew was trying to cook dinner for and woo a young woman. Went very poorly.
We haven't answered the poor man's question.
I got sidetracked by the Frap Attack.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've done lots of projects that have been really fun to do, and I mean, some of them have been on YouTube, some for TV. One of the ones I was most excited about was when we did a video for the Oscars, and that was, I guess, the 2011 Oscars, 2 years ago. And it was just fun because I always wanted to do that, but we were always worried about copyright because Warner Brothers will drop the hammer on you. So we just had license to take Harry Potter and The King's Speech and whatever was a contender that year.
Because the Oscars specifically asked us to do it, and they went out and got the okay from all the movie studios to like make this piece together. We got to create this song that showed on the Academy Awards telecast.
Right.
And that was a pretty, so that, I mean, I was gonna say the same one because it was like broadcast to this huge audience, a lot of whom, most of whom, don't know what we do on YouTube, but we were still able to do like our primary thing. You know what I mean? Like it was still us doing our thing in our way at an event that is all about celebrating entertainment. So the fact that like a YouTuber had a little spot in that kind of broadcast was really cool to me and spoke well of like those two worlds kind of starting to come together.
Right. But at the same time, I wouldn't say that we're more proud of anything that we do on TV, because like I just feel like TV and YouTube, people lots of times say like, I don't like TV, I only like YouTube, but it's really just a medium and it's a way to put out stuff. So I think most of the stuff we're most proud of is just stuff that we put on our channel, you know, like all the stuff we put out this year, the DJ song, the stuff we're putting out next week, I'm really proud of. The only thing I was sad about with the Oscar video is that we did actually a verse of the King's Speech, and it sounded like exactly like, did you hear about that movie? It was Colin Firth playing the King of Britain, and he had a speech impediment, so he was going to a therapist so he could give speeches. And he sounded exactly like Lil Wayne when we auto-tuned him. Which was awesome just because his character was like a king. And he was like, oh, and oh, like his voice was just like exactly in the pocket. It sounded like his song Lollipop. Then they had to cut that song from the broadcast, because they were like, oh, the King's Speech is probably going to win, so...
We don't want to make it seem like we knew it was going to win, even though we know it's going to win, just because everyone thinks it's going to win. Didn't make any sense, and then it won.
No. But Harry Potter did.
Thanks for asking that.